88-year-old Li Wende is said to be the last living Chinese veteran who served as a medic during Songshan battle. Though the events date back 71 years, the memories are still vivid.
The Battle of Mount Song was brutal. Many were killed. We walked over dead bodies scattered everywhere. The battle took a heavy toll on the 8th Army. Only about a dozen medics survived.
In 1944, the Chinese Expeditionary Army began a counteroffensive into Myanmar to reopen the Yunnan-Burma Road, which had been under Japanese control since 1942. As the only transport channel and lifeline between China and Southeast Asia became a significant national highway across China, all the weapons, equipment, food supplies to support Chinese army relied on this particular road during the War of Resistance against the Japanese aggression. Songshan, positioned between Tengchong and Longlin counties, held a key strategic value. If it could not be retaken, the cities of Kunming and Chongqing risked falling into enemy hands. Military experts call the Songshan's geological position the Oriental Gibraltar. The Songshan battle began in June of 1944 and ended in September. It's the longest and the biggest in scale in Dianxi anti-Japanese war, as well as the turning point of wider war of resistance against the Japanese aggression. Now, 71 years later, from here, the Nun River is clearly visible. It's as if the sound of the gunfire is still thundering in the mountains. Fighting erupted in August 1944. Li Wende recalls the intense gunfire and grenades thrown at enemy lines. The infantry provided cover fire so he and other medics could carry wounded soldiers to safety.
Sometimes I remember my comrades and I have tears in my eyes. The commanding officer treated us well. The longer we fought, the more courage we had. Right before we won the battle, I remember we heard the Japanese only had 200 soldiers left on the mountain. We surrounded them and fought till the end.
Experts say the Japanese soldiers who occupied the Songshan mountain were also miners before the war. This explains the strong defenses built atop the mountain. The Japanese army built a very strong defense system with forts and trenches, and the mountains was well supplied with water, electricity, and a communication system. Now, this photo was taken by a war correspondent who captured the moment of an American allied soldier examining the body of a dead Japanese soldier. And this is the exact location the body was found. Experts say controlling Songshan Mountain, Nun River, and Huitong Bridge was decisive to winning the regional conflict in Yunnan Province. Had they been lost, the course of the war would have been very different.
It was the only highway bridge open to vehicular traffic on the Nun River. The Yunnan-Burma Road, Huitong Bridge, and the Nun River were all important. The road was an artery to import goods and materials into China, and the bridge was the only one open to vehicles. So you can see the importance.
Chinese forces sealed victory in Songshan when they cut through a tunnel under the enemy's main fort and placed 3 tons of explosives. Nearly 2,000 Japanese soldiers were finally defeated after 3 months of intense fighting. The mountain, the highest point on the western bank of Nun River, was back in Chinese hands. Control of the Yunnan-Burma Road was restored, and the battle would prove a turning point in the war. But the victory came at a staggering cost. 7,763 Chinese soldiers lost their lives, and 15,000 were wounded. The sculptures were built here to commemorate the soldiers who were killed in the Songshan battle and thank them to the contribution to the victory in the war of resistance against the Japanese aggression and the World Anti-Fascism War. For them, their duty was fighting with their lives in exchange for today's peace. Now for us, in the future generations, remembering history and cherishing peace are our responsibilities. Let's remember the faces of the heroes and give them our highest salute. Liu Yang, CCTV, Yunnan Province.